Good morning, everyone, and welcome to At the Sharp End, a weekly business show where we talk about business issues. And in today's show, we're going to be talking about creating innovative visions and communicating them clearly. This morning, I've got Jon Stephenson, who's our Head of Market Insights. Good morning, Jon.
Good morning, Ian. Great to be on the show. Thank you for having me.
No, you're welcome, and thanks for taking the time to come on the show. That's really appreciated. So I'll just share a quick slide with everyone. So what we're going to talk about, as I say, and goal achievement tips, which is the crucial bit at the end there when you're doing the delivery part. So without further ado, we'll get back to the task at hand. So we've got quite a few visual tools that we use day to day, haven't we, Jon?
We have, and they're fantastic for a way to people to say a picture, and a picture says 1,000 words and sometimes spells a good business case.
Indeed it does. Excuse me, everyone, I've got a bit of a sore throat this morning. So we're going to start off with a visual process, actually, and as we do Growth Accelerator coaching, which Growth Accelerator, for those of you who don't know, and there'll be a link in the show notes, Growth Accelerator is the premier business growth service supplied by the government. So it's a subsidised service where you get to work with experienced business people who will come into your business and coach you on how to grow your business. And a lot of that process through the system that they have is visual. And here I've got a tool that's actually provided by Winning Pitch, which is one of the partners. Again, a link in the show notes. But this is called an Orbit, and on here it's a free-form tool. You will stand around with the businesses and the management team. That could be a management team of one or you know, a dozen, because it's an SME type service. And you will visually create where you're going and what the key elements are. You focus on turnover and profit and sales, but you also focus on things like marketing, premises, staff, etc., etc. And sometimes there's a need to go off and do some market research for some of that stuff. That's right, Jon, isn't it?
That's right. The devil's often in the detail.
Absolutely. So we use market insights as a way to strengthen those strategic goals. Once you've visualized those and everyone's co-created them within the business, no, co-creation, I'll come back to that because that's a key point, and it's something that Jon's quite passionate about as well. When the team have stood around and co-created the vision for the business, it becomes a powerful driver for the business. But you can't just deliver on a vision. You actually need a plan. So the single page plan is the other tool that Winning Pitch, but there are actually loads of these kinds of things. This is a getting it done kind of plan with the vital few things that are going to help fuel your growth, who's responsible for them, by when, and a measure for how you do them. As I say, that's provided by Winning Pitch, and there'll be a link in the show notes about that. But it's available for business coaching for growth thread of Growth Accelerator. That's a really good early stage that starts to unlock a business and drive it forward. But quite often, if a company's bringing new things to market, there's a really good visual tool that Jon and I use, and we've used extensively actually, for discovery for new businesses, for growth of existing businesses, and really to plan out how robust your business is. If you've not seen the Lean Startup methodology, then you should look it up by Eric Ries, and Steve Blank has been delivering a course on it at Stanford University. And all of that is based around a tool put together by a chap called Alex Osterwald, and this is the Business Model Canvas. It's available under the Creative Commons license. Again, there'll be links in the show notes to the website where you can get it. It's also available as an app online and for your iPad if you happen to use an iPad. So shall we just break there, Jon, because we're ripping through the process part, and just talk about the Business Model Canvas a little bit?
Ah, brilliant. Great stuff. My pet subject indeed.
Indeed it is, yeah. So on the business model canvas, it's a great way to identify your business model, which is the thing that replaces a business plan. And it puts everything on one sheet. It's very visual. There are no hiding places. So it helps you drill down into your business and find out what's working, what's not working, what you need, what's surplus to requirements, and critically, how your business makes money.
Yeah, I was going to say the wonderful thing about the business model canvas is that it's like a four-step process, and the four-step process is related to the importance of good old-fashioned storytelling. So effectively, your canvas that you held up a moment ago, you kick off and you start by mapping it with post-it notes. Then you jump forward to each element, of which there are 9 elements that make up a business model. Then you define the story, the movement from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to 9, and then you tell the story. So it's a 4-step process, but what's different about it is the fact that it forces you to visualize your product or your service. So for the 9 business blocks are about envisioning 4 main areas of your business. That's customers, offer, infrastructure, and financial viability, of course.
Absolutely. And they have specific terms, don't they? So if you check it out online, business model generation, there is a little process to go through that. There's a 2-minute video as well, which we'll link to, which tells you what it's about and how it's used. We're big advocates of it. It's far more powerful if you have someone in the room like us who's dispassionate about your business, pardon me, and is able to ask those difficult questions and draw out where the problems lie in the business. One of the key principles is, though, it's not just a plan. It forces you to get out there and test out your business model.
It does, and one of the things that I really like about it is it forces the business owner to get back to basics and to understand why he or she set up in business in the first place and what was it that inspired them to go into business in terms of their product or their service, and what do they aim to do. So for instance, from a product and a service point of view, what does the customer see? What do they hear? What do they think? What do they feel? What do they do? Where are the pain points? And also, what the hell do they gain from buying your product or service?
So the great thing about all that is it's all very visual. It's co-created with your team, which is a hugely powerful thing. And shall we just talk a little bit about co-creation, John, and why that is so powerful? Sorry, caught you taking a swig of coffee.
No, hey, that's fine. That's fine.
So co-creation and why that's crucially, why that's so important and why it's so powerful.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if I sum it up in one sentence, really, it's the difference between turning a passive audience of listeners into inspired followers.
I think there's another element to it as well. When people have participated in co-creation, in a co-creation process, they become advocates of whatever it is they've co-created. So if you want cultural buy-in in your company to deliver in a plan, the best way to do it is to engage your staff in the development of that plan.
Yeah, and one of a great way to do that, I believe, is through the power of storytelling, and that's why Business Model Canvas is absolutely brilliant, because you're telling a visual story of the product or the service or testing the market. So I think there's 3 key things with Business Model Canvas. You can inspire, you can inform, and you can involve. If you inspire, that means that your goals or your business growth strategy is wrapped up in a compelling story, which hopefully is going to resonate individuals who are going to be directly involved, or if it's your management team, drive that change process. You can inform people, and it's a great way to explore the business goal, which is going to have a direct effect on the teams and the business as a whole. And last but not least, involve. And that's the key thing with co-creation is, Ian's touched upon it, you've got to involve people. You really have got to involve people, otherwise it's never going to resonate, it's never really going to get traction. And it's a wonderful way to get people involved in the process, because it's an interactive process.
I'm glad you mentioned engagement and involvement there, John. I'd just like to take a moment internationally featured head of digital marketing, Khemeia Consulting, and I'm sure you can pick up some great tips from his show if you'd like to follow it. So as I say, it's at 10 o'clock on a Wednesday. So, John, we're big advocates. Advocates of the business model canvas. When we get beyond that and we start to sell, there are some other tools that I've used extensively with teams previously. And in a previous life, we did a lot of searching and we looked for something that would allow us to manage strategic accounts. And this is this is important for the bigger SMEs and large companies. So when you start to sell into a company, there's a tool set by a company called Miller Hyman. It's very well established, and there's a sales process. And this is strategic analysis, so strategic selling. There's a whole course on this, which I had the team go through. These are available online, and the great thing is you develop your plan and then you peer review it, and the strength is in the peer review. It's very much like co-creation. So that's very powerful. It helps you break down those sales barriers which a salesperson will know exist, but they might not individually be able to address them, whereas if you use your colleagues and your peers, there may well be from your business other ways into that potential client. And people can say, well, I can just talk to, X at that contact, at that business, and they'll be able to help us break down that barrier. So it's all about strategic positioning, but it's very, very visual, and we found it extremely powerful and very useful. Once you're in there, there's a second tool. Again, it's a single page, but this is strategic analysis or strategic account analysis, broken up into sections, same sort of thing as the business model canvas, where there's a process to it. You fill it all out. There's quite a lot of detail that goes on here because you're talking about a big business and big opportunities. But when you've done that, you've got a very powerful tool, and it tells you year on year how your account's performing and where you're trying to get to. So it should stop degradation of the account. In fact, it should stimulate improvement of the account and strengthening of the sales. So I wanted to throw those in there because that kind of completes the visual storytelling part of being innovative and creative about the visual techniques for visual goal setting. They are extremely powerful. They often need someone to help you, at least to start with, either get some training or work with you as a coach, a mentor, or a consultant, whichever you prefer, to drive that forward. And pardon me, the common theme that backs all of those up is there will often be a knowledge gap somewhere. And so you plug that by going out and talking to people, whether that's your strategic target, your strategic account, or getting out there to talk to your potential customers in the case of the business model canvas. And so, John, you've done a lot of work around identifying contacts within those strategic accounts and helping open up channels to talk to people.
Yeah, I mean, the key thing is that you've got to break down people's barriers because, like it or not, they either associate with your product or service or they don't. And what you want to try and do is build up a taxi driver's knowledge and be able to get from A to B as quick as possible. Now, in order to do that, you need to network and you need to go about things in the right way. And what I like about the process you've just shown is it gives you a structured approach because, let's face it, people are different. People have got different buying triggers or people react to different things or different approaches. So you do need a structured approach.
Absolutely right, and that's key really. It's all right setting those goals, but without something to back it up that is a plan, a measurable plan, then there's a very good chance that you'll not actually achieve your goals.
Yeah.
So that activity, that visual plan, giving people responsibility within the team and then driving it forward and setting times when things have to be delivered is absolutely crucially important to success.
Yeah, I mean, are we jumping on to the third part of the show, Ian, about goal achievement tips?
We are actually, yes.
Okay, great stuff. Because I was just going to say, over the years I've been lucky. I've worked for a couple of Fortune 500 companies and some large SMEs and also some startups. And I've been struck by some people's ability to communicate and other leaders' abilities not to communicate. And the difference between a business vision, where a leader knows where they're heading, and a goal is only the start of where you're actually heading. Actually, it's a 3-step process. And one of the things I found really useful in life is there's a book by a chap called Jack Canfield who breaks down a 3-step process to doing a goal. And that's, we'll put the book in the show notes, but it's define how and when. So, learn the difference between what is a goal and what is an idea, because they're different. They're massively different. Make sure the goals include the how and the when. It's more than just an idea. As Ian's just touched upon, it's a big vision and it's a complete list of goals to achieve that vision. That's step 1, so define how and when. Step 2 is break it down. That's the action steps, which the process that Ian showed with the goal sheet is all about, breaking it down, which is absolutely wonderful. You need that. And the devil is in the detail. It's the action steps towards achieving your objective, which are the dates, the deadlines, and keeping on track. And then last but not least, review and update.
Absolutely right. So regular update meetings, all the team participating. Once you've got those goals set and you've got your plan in place, there's no excuse really. Don't let things slip. Actually keep on them and manage them like a real project, and you'll be surprised how quickly it affects what your business is doing. It's critically important, and it is to ask us a question. We invite people to tweet or to text in, and I don't think we've actually had anything. So we are here. If you want to ask us a question on our blog, then please do feel free to do that. We're very happy to answer. Otherwise, you can follow us on Twitter, Google+, Facebook, LinkedIn, name your channel. You can pick out of all of those. But if you go to our blog, that's KhemeiaConsulting.com, then you'll be able to see all those links. So, Jon, thanks a lot for coming on the show today. It's been a pleasure having you and to hear your insights into business modelling and process and visual communication. And I hope you'll come on again. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just jumping in to say. Okay. Good stuff.
All right, so we've suffered a bit of a Google delay there, but yeah, thanks a lot for coming on, Jon. Great to see you, and I look forward to having you on the show again soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, and bye everyone. Hope you found that useful.